Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into a production of the Cross Platform Baseball League. It is weekly roundup time after week one of season 9 of the XBL, the XBL AAA, and the XBL AA. My name is Weaver for Prez, and joining me in the booth tonight to go over things and such is Dwayne, one of the co-commissioners of the league. How you doing tonight, Dwayne? How did you like week one?
Doing fantastic. Week one had tons of action across all three leagues. It was awesome to see AAA and AA kicking off just as hot of a start as the XBL. Everyone getting their games in, most people hitting their minimum. So it's been really fun. There's a ton of upsets and great plays we've already seen.
Yeah, and the theme for me really, I know this was something we talked about last season, but I think it's even more apparent now, and that's parity. And parity across all three leagues. It doesn't really feel like there's one guy that's just going to run away with it. I mean, okay, you can maybe argue that for our reigning champ in the XBL, but it really does feel like a better field across all three leagues. It really does feel like the competition is better, and I think week one showed that.
Yeah, for sure. There's, I believe, no winless teams left across the AAA and the XBL themselves, so that's really an impressive feat already. And no undefeated teams besides, I believe, the Black Jackals at this time. So it's really
Yeah.
looking good as far as parity goes. Anybody seems to be able to beat anybody, and that's how baseball is any given day. And it's been really exciting for the cross-platform baseball league to have this much competition across the board.
Yeah, it's been super fun, and with that, we're going to dive into the power rankings as voted on by the league office, the five members that we have in there on the board, and we're going to start with Triple A, and that means we're here on 18, 17, and 16. An unfortunate 6 spot drop for the holograms for Oxbox, and a -4 for the anchors. Those two matched up just a couple days ago on Match of the Week and played a couple. They split each other in a grindy sort of series, and then a 2 spot improvement from the preseason dead last pick, which was Casino and the Sicilians.
Yeah, some interesting movement here. We saw holograms start out to a not so hot start, and the anchors as well, cramming all those games in on Sunday and then playing in match of the week. Both those teams walking away with their individual wins on the match of the week. So cool to see them split and get their wins on match of the week. But they find themselves here low on the power rankings. The Sicilians benefiting from that, coming away also with one victory in week one and getting a push from these two teams falling in the rankings.
Yeah, and these are both the two guys there at the bottom. These are guys that it wouldn't shock anyone if they were able to climb out of this hole. Calling them the AK, whatever you want to call them, the worst in the league or whatever. It is a bit disingenuous. I definitely see upside for both of them, and even from Casino.
Yeah, indeed. I think all three of these teams could find themselves in the middle of the pack, if not higher, depending on how things go.
Yeah, and then moving on up the list here to the next three or so, we have the Justice, which was that's Blue Panther, and then Tam Danitz gets a 3 spot improvement there with his Vrooms, and then Wolfie Lion holds pat there at 13 with his Wolfie Lions.
Yeah, the room's there with that 3 spot movement here. The other two teams not moving in the rankings this week. I believe, I forget who the rooms were able to put those wins on. I think it was a sweep, though. So able to get a couple and move themselves up. Very nice from the rookie to get a couple wins in their first
Yeah.
XBL week. It's always good to get off to a nice start and get a pair. The Justice, though, and the Lions staying where they are. Both those teams also getting a pair of wins. Both those teams also debuting in the XBL AAA this week. So congratulations to them for coming away with a pair of wins each. And I think we'll see movement from all three of these teams as well. This entire bottom half, I think, is room to shake up.
Yeah, certainly keep your eye on these guys, especially I'd say Wolfie Lion. He had, I believe, a mercy win, if not a mercy win, a decent blowout win against Wishbone, who's one of the more respected talents around the AAA. So
Indeed.
definitely impressive there, something to build on. And we'll move on up here past the 13 spot into 12, 11, and 10. A few red arrows here. A small demotion for Chill, the Battle Tapes, our Switch player. 7 spot. I believe this is the biggest demotion on either list tonight for Wishbone and the NASA Knots. Even though he's at 3-3, so certainly nothing equating to a lost season or anything like that. And then a 5 spot demotion for the Takpies and Kakaila, maybe a bit surprising.
Yeah, indeed. I think the demotion for the Takpies really coming from a hot, reputation coming in as a rookie to the AAA. So far, though, 4 losses in your first week is not, something you really look forward to grabbing when you're debuting. So he's found himself going down the list a little bit less favorable. Wishbone taken some heavy losses, so that's definitely resulting in that drop in the standings. And then Chill as well, moving down one. I think that's more due to the movement of some of these other players we see going up the board in the next half.
Yeah, and also worth mentioning these, as Oxbox just pointed out in the chat, these rankings are based on week one, which ended at midnight last night. At the end of Sunday. But it was today that Kakaila and the TACPs actually got a mercy win against Krill, who you're going to see towards the top of the list. So maybe next week, that will have to be taken into account. We'll see maybe some positive movement for the TACPs. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think at 10, 11, and even 12, like again, as we've said at the bottom half, these teams can definitely all move up. There's been a ton of parity for the entire league across the board, as we mentioned already, and these teams have the offensive capabilities to put runs on the board and really handle some of the opponents they haven't played yet down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll move on up into the top nine. Past the TACPs, a one spot demotion for both No Name and the team with No Name, and the Narwhals with Phillies Rock, and a 9 spot for the Atlantics and the player whose name I keep forgetting, El Yeezus, I believe.
Yes,
Yes,
Elias.
yes, yeah, El Yeezus. An impressive showing at 6-4, and I also impressive for all three of these guys. Especially, I kind of want to shout out No Name there at 5-1.
Yeah, for sure. No Name starting off really hot and some great run scoring so far in his series. So look for him to possibly even move up this board in the coming weeks. He's going to have to stay hot and really make that name for himself. As the No Names have no name at this time. He wants to make the name
Yeah,
for himself and his team, and he's going to go forward looking for wins. And we see the Narwhals. We saw Phillies as the most improved player last season in Season 8. Now he's at a good 8 spot here, taking that 1 spot promotion. And he's shown the ability to score runs early, and I'm going to look forward to him probably doing the same going forward. And yeah, the Atlantics with that 9 spot promotion in the rankings, absolutely unprecedented. Just offensive ability off the charts.
yeah, these guys looking like true threats from the mid tier going I guess it's way too early to talk about playoffs, but a good foundation for sure for all three of these guys to build off of going forward. We'll get into the next three here as we move on up the list. 2 spot improvements for both Phil and his auditors, Eduardo and his Omaha Sirloins, and then a bit of a 1 spot demotion for one of the preseason favorites in the Moon Kingdom. If I had to pick someone to talk about, I'd talk about the 7-3 auditors. They've looked really good.
Yeah, Phil and his auditors coming out swinging. Definitely grind out a couple one-run victories as well so far in this season, but he's winning them where it counts and he's scoring runs when it matters, and that's exactly how you do it. So I definitely think the auditors deserve this 6 spot and perhaps, have more upwards momentum to show us going forward. The Sirloins have pitched expertly thus far. Eduardo, we expected him to do so, coming in from all that legendary lore, and at 4-2, he's had a good, solid first week. And yeah, we see this 1 spot drop from the Moon Kingdom. I think they had a rough first week, but they did take on Corruptions early, and Corruptions is
Right.
tough to play. So we'll see what the Moon Kingdom shows us later going forward. We know 4, I believe, is where they finished last season, and there's a higher ceiling there.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt a higher ceiling. This is one of the elite players in AAA. But this week, we've got 3 players that were deemed just a bit more elite. So we'll show those to you right now. 3-spot improvement for the Moons. The Moons jumping over the Moon Kingdom there. That's Rainy at 5-1. And then Team USA at 2 and the Prowlers at 1. And I took note here, made sure to mention this. Corruptions and Krill, they're at 1 and 2. They actually tied. So, don't think that seeing the Prowlers at 1 means a whole lot. It means they tied. Corruptions and Krill, they literally in the points that were allocated to them via the voting, they are tied. So yeah, that's a nasty top 3 though for AAA.
Yeah, indeed. We did have a tiebreaker within the league office with a final vote, and the final vote did go in favor of Corruptions. That's why you see it at 1 and 2 instead of a tie for 1 outright, as we didn't want to have a straight tie
Gotcha.
for first place. But either way, Krill showed at 8 and 2 this week, playing a ton of games. He's got the ability to lock in that 1 spot, but the Prowler's absolutely dominant. That contact hitting approach has shown no mercy thus far this season, and at 5-1, it's well deserved that number 1 voting. And the Moons, we see making his first appearance, Rainy, number 3 on the power rankings. That's really awesome for him. He's an expert pitcher, and going forward this season, I think there's a lot of momentum in this Moons camp.
Yeah, definitely an impressive 5-1 start. And then just forgot to mention while we're talking about the ties, we also had statistical ties between Eduardo and Phil down there, and then also Philly's rocking No Name. So Corruption's Krill, Eduardo, Phil, Philly's No Name. Those three pairs all had statistical ties in the voting. So yeah, just keep that in mind going forward. But those are the AAA rankings after 1 week of play. Now we're going to dive into the XBL power rankings. And starting us off here with a non-change is Jay Boops and his Colts there, and then some improvements for B Hagen and for the cardiac card, and keep in mind we did have a removal from the league with the departure of Pseudo shortly after opening day, so that we will see some improvements from 10 below.
Yeah, dude. That's why you see the Colts remaining at 17 instead of getting a bump, because I believe B Hagen gets that 2 spot bump from the 18th position, which no longer is
Right.
there. But he gets the hop over the Colts from 18. So great job from B Hagen on week 1, getting a victory and getting a spot moved up in the power rankings. We'll see him going forward, the AAA rookie. You know, looking to grab some wins. I think he'll be really competitive. And yeah, Cardinals with a good sweep over Doso, something
Yeah.
that was well needed at the time to tail off the week. Good for him, and that pair of wins should be big going forward.
Yeah, no doubt, and we'll move on up the list past 15 there. And again, once a default promotion there for Merzdrone and his 2 and 6 Sakuras, and a non-move for the Greats, and then a pretty impressive showing from the Stags. Granted, they didn't quite meet the minimum, but still, some good things all around from all three of these guys, and especially Merz, who threw the perfect game.
Yeah, perfect game for Mers, the AAA Von Asen winner last season. You expected him to come up and make some noise somehow, and he makes it in the first week, pitching a perfect game against the Bayside Colts. So congratulations to him. And at number 14, he's sitting pretty good. Perhaps, outside looking in on a playoff position. We'll see how things go for them. And yeah, the Stags looking good after week 1. That big opening day sweep against B Hagen and the Megafauna should go a long way.
No doubt, no doubt, and we'll move on up here to the next three. Doso and his Firebirds stay put. Fine Knight, who has looked like one of the more impressive Xbox players this season so far, moves up a couple. He is at 3-3, but one of those 3 wins, a walk-off, the only win anyone has had yet against Ashnod's Coupon. Very impressive. And then Dwayne, you are also at 3-3, and you stay put at 9.
Yeah, not a lot of changes here at 9 and 11, but yeah, the Miners with an awesome first week with that big win over Ashnod. Everyone has fingered Finite for a lot of upward momentum, a lot of improvement, perhaps a playoff position, as he missed the playoffs last season, and I think that was showing in the first week. We'll see how the Miners do going forward at 3-3. They're in a good position to nab some wins, I think. The Firebirds taking that sweep late against the Cardinals, really preventing any sort of upward movement. I can't recall off the top of my head who those 2 victories were against in week 1, but I think
He walked me off on one of them.
he walked you off on one of them.
Me,
So,
yeah.
so yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. So big for Doso to get a couple of wins on week 1, and I think he's going to have to really show some pitching prowess and some timely hitting to really jump up this board. And yeah, an okay week. I'll abstain. I'll let you go on me.
Yeah, I think an impressive week all around. You did 2 of your losses were to the proverbial king, Mr. Lazy. So no shame there. You almost threw a perfect game against me in a game that you ended up winning regardless. But yeah, the offense looks improved, and we're all looking forward to see what else comes from the Pine Sox.
Let's move off the board.
Yeah. This is a bigger demotion there for the Couch Potatoes. You were explaining to me that some of that is attributed to the lack of hitting minimums. So he sits at number 8, just below myself, who also took a bit of a dip there at 4-4. And then Ted Danson moves up from 7 to 6 after a pretty good 4-4.
Yeah, we see a little bit of movement within this top 8, as we'll see going up the board. That pushes a couple of these players down. But Mike, with a not as strong week as we would have liked from the Couch Potatoes, we'll look to him to have some improvement next week. I think he'll be ready. He believes he's streaky, but a lot of people believe in Couch Potato Nation. Weaver, yeah, with that 2-spot demotion, but I think that's due more to the upward movement of the Dragoons above you, who had a pretty good week. Both you guys at 4-4. I couldn't really be more even. So it's going to be close for this top 7, top 8 range, I think, all season.
Sorry about that.
That's all
I
right.
had a little bit of a cough there.
That's all right.
All
I
right,
was
but
just making sure you're
we,
still with us.
yeah, we can move on up the list here. Sorry, folks. Look at this, a 3-spot improvement from Bice there. Bice's Republic of Africa. He has looked really good with his new power approach. A 2-spot improvement from the Mallards, who has just looked, like the runaway rookie of the year. I don't think I would be shocked if it didn't happen. He looks, I mean, more than that, he looks like a World Series contender potentially. We'll see. And then the Birdies staying put at number 3.
Yeah, pretty exciting week for the Mallards and government. Both teams looking very hot off the beginning of the week. And like you said, yeah, the Mallards at that 2-spot improvement and in the top 4. A lot of people were touting Luke for top 4 going into the season, and now he's here in the power rankings after week 1. We'll see what he's able to do going forward. A lot of big games on the platter for him. And yeah, we've got the Birdies at number 3, staying put. That offensive ability was shown in the brief 6-game sprint of week 1. We'll see going forward if that's able to really push the Birdies up the board.
Absolutely, and then of course we have our 1 and our 2, the undefeated Black Jackals, and the 5-1 Blues, who we mentioned they took that L to Finite Provision, one of the more impressive games we've seen this season. And then Lazy, having a good week of his own, he defeated you, he defeated Mike, and I can't remember who the other set would be. But regardless, he's 6-0. He is still the reigning champ and probably still the favored repeat champ. Lots to love from these guys, of course.
Yeah, that third set for the Black Jackals was against Ted Danson, so no stretch of easy opponents for Lazy this week. 3 players that are ranked in the top 10 right now for Lazy, and he's taking that 6-0 record all the way to the bank, staying at number 1. And we saw some impressive stuff from the Blues this week on Match of the Week. Countless home runs hit in total across 6 games already. Like you said, that one loss against Finite, really the only notch against Ashnod going forward, perhaps, or else he would be in that number 1 conversation, I think. But 1, 2, 3, and 4 pretty much unanimous outright.
Yeah, one thing I'm interested to see is whether or not Ashnod, last season as a rookie, he stomped the single season home run record. He broke it. I would not be surprised if he broke his own record this season. So definitely a narrative to look at going forward.
For sure.
Well, those are the season 9 week 1 power rankings. After 1 week of play, and to close out the show here, we are going to move on here to the top 5 plays of the week as determined by myself and Dwayne in collaboration. And starting at number 5 is actually a play from AA. This is Goldfinger, a rookie. Well, pretty much everyone in the AA is a rookie. He's going to make a really slick catch out there in left field with his left fielder.
Yeah, running over the shoulder into that left center field gap, hitting the warning track. Nice play. That's one that definitely saves a double. I'm not sure if he won or lost this game, but either way, it makes a big difference in a 0-0 game that looked like it was late on.
Yeah, and against a really solid AAA player in Cougar too. And like you said, I'm not entirely certain if he won it. I believe he split with Cougar, so this could be. But yeah, fantastic catch out there in left field. And we'll move on to number 4, which comes from opening day, the very first game that we had of this season. It was broadcasted live with commentary by myself and Floribel. It's a walk-off home run from the Stags, from No Hummus, to get his first win of the season in his first game. And that comes after a season 8 where it took him, I believe, 13 games to find his first win.
Yeah, majestic shot from Anthony Soprano. And like you said, it took a while for Hummus to get that first W last season. Didn't waste any time in season 9. He really couldn't miss that pitch. Absolutely clobbered. And congratulations to him for getting one on the board there. And that's our number 4 play of the week. Nice job.
Yeah, that one was absolutely tattooed. 443 feet for Anthony Soprano, 2-run jack. And that'll take us to the number 3 play, which occurred, I believe, on Thursday. And Mike the Cooch here getting robbed of a grand slam that would have put him back in the game. Lazy, he's not just a hitter. He can do it all.
Absolutely. The great defense there from Lazy. It was pretty questionable. A lot of us were like, oh, will it go? Will it go?
Yeah.
And it just does not quite get over the wall. Good timing on the jump from Lazy. And you can see Mike heartbroken. That one didn't go his way. It would have been nice, a nice opposite field shot on a high fastball. It was very, very close.
It's basically a game, it's like a dagger play. If he hits the grand slam, it's a 1-run game, completely brand new against, the best player. But instead, nope, it's just an out, and it's still 6-1, and that's super demoralizing, and that's just what you can do to people with great defense. So great job there from Lazy.
Indeed.
We'll move on to our number 2 play of the week. This came from our match of the week on Saturday night that we had between Ashnod and the Beaky Bay Birdies, Fleurbell. He's going to make an excellent diving catch, well timed, and then a 99 throw to nab the runner who snuck too far off the base for the double play. You love to see it, especially with the 99 perfect throw.
Yeah, absolutely. What a dive and what a laser. Good route to the ball. It was really, really a tough play. That ball was absolutely stung. He kind of slides into the wall there too and comes up just firing. And for a double play, that was such a cool, just great play.
Yeah, that was certainly the best defensive play we have seen this week, in a manner of speaking. And after we see one more replay of it here, we are going to move on to the number 1 play of the week, and it's a bit of a long clip because we're going to let the at-bat play out. Mr. Mers Drone, a AAA graduate, returns to the XBL. He's had a rough go of it so far, but he did throw a perfect game not long ago during week 1, and this is the final at-bat. It is versus Jay Boops. Atlas Nunez looking for the complete game, perfect game, and he's going to get it, Dwayne. What a story.
Yeah, he goes here with the 2-2 pitch, the low fastball, great pitch, 99 fastball, gets him for swinging for strike number 3. And congratulations again to Mers. He doesn't let the clip really run there, but either way, that was awesome for him to get his perfect game on his return to the XBL. And that's going to go down in history either way, no matter how the season goes. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah, a very rare event, especially when we're talking about the collection of the most talented SMB players. It can something like this. It almost feels like impossible, and yet here we are. We're watching a replay of it. Big props to Mers Drone. He was the Von Asen winner last year in the AAA, and he shows that he's still got it. He can still pitch at either level.
Indeed. Yeah, it's a great number 1 play of the week.
All right, those are the top 5 plays of the week, and that is the weekly roundup. So that's all we got for you this week. Remember to get your minimums in for week 2. Reach those minimums, play your games, and we're going to be back live on this channel for an evening stream next Sunday for match of the week, for AAA match of the week and XBL match of the week. And anything else you want to add, Dwayne?
Nope, just stay tuned for the start times of those games and the matchups. We'll see you guys on Sunday for that. We'll get our casters lined up and our matches lined up, and it should be some exciting stuff. We hope you all guys have a safe and pleasant evening, and thank you all for joining us for the Roundup.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.